Christmas Eve, and I'm trying to. If you could just see the kitchen, just a pile of. Well, you can't see it. Don't matter. Getting ready for this Christmas Eve party. Christmas Eve has become the holiday for the Evans family. Probably about 10 years now. We've been doing a big party. It's fun, exciting, a lot of work. So we're doing the finishing touches, and then when Dawn gets home, she'll finish up everything. But I wanted to do a blog today. It's an interesting blog, at least to me. I think it's interesting. And I've been trying to think of a name for it all morning. Woke up with it on my mind yesterday, and then I was like, nah. But then I thought about it some more. So I'm going to go with the title right now. Remember, don't relive. Remember or try to not relive. This is a hard one. And I hope it gets across. Hope I get it across. Hope it makes sense. So, in October of 2003, I lost my father. That day, I was recording at Systems 2 studio in New York, and I was recording a record with Sean Jones. Basically, what happened was, they said, Oren, you got a call. Anybody, musicians that have been to Systems 2? I said, this is before everybody had a cell phone, or maybe I had my cell phone off. But I don't remember, cell phones weren't like they were now in 2003. They were still, we had them, but anyway, I went inside to the booth, and I answered the phone, and then it was Dawn, and she was telling me that my father had just passed away. Joe and I believe Mike was in the room, and then also the producer, Stix Hooper, was producing the record. So they saw my reaction. I think they kind of knew by the way that my wife called the studio. So when I hung up the phone, they said, "Is everything all right, Oren?" I said, I said, yeah. I said, well, basically, my father just passed. My father passed away. If you've ever been to my house, you know what this clock is. We're just going to deal with this till it's done. Reggie Washington has a love for this clock. There we go. All right. So I went back in and I recorded the rest of Sean's record and didn't say anything to anybody. And one of the tunes, the next tune that we recorded was 95 South. All this is going to make sense. Systems 2, 95 South, October 2003, Sean Jones. All of those things. Just keep it in your head. Little did I know, like 7 years before that, on that same exact date, I didn't connect all those dates then, but that was actually the date that I met Dawn, who now we got 17 years together. All right. My mother passed. I was coming back from Spain playing with Donald Edwards, and we came back on Father's Day, but we landed, we had a layover. I don't remember why. We had a layover somewhere. I don't know, somewhere. And I thought about another friend of mine at that time who had just lost her father, and it was Father's Day. Good friend of ours, Allison. So I called her, I texted her, I did something to communicate with Allison and say, just thinking of you today. When the plane landed, I came home, I was so tired, I called my mother. I think I was driving from Newark. Called my mother, and I said, well, look, I'll come over tomorrow. She says, Happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day. Oh, yeah, cool. I come home, lay on the couch, get the phone call. My mother didn't pass that evening, but she basically did. She had a heart attack. I never spoke to her again. She was unconscious for a day. So she actually passed the next day. But still, this happened on Father's Day. When I think about a play older brother I had, his name was Kenny McLean. He passed away in 2007, November, and I was in Portugal. I say all of these things and share them with my cheerful Santa hat to say this season brings a lot of memories up for people, good and bad, Just now I think about George Duke's family. This is their first Christmas without George Duke. Or I think about TC the Third and Anisha and Mr. C. who actually buried their mother on Christmas Eve 3 years ago. I'm sorry if I don't remember the exact date. And the one that I really don't want to mention, but we all think about the families of the Sandy Hook parents and December, and there's a lot of things that happen. You know, we could go back in our lives and connect a date and a time. It could be Christmas, it could be Valentine's Day, it could be your birthday, it could be whatever. But I'm here to tell you, at least for me, that now, 10 years later, October, and even then, every time I heard the song 95 South after my father passed away, I smiled. I smiled. It was the last song I played after finding out he passed away. Well, I'm sorry, the next song I played after finding out he passed away. Every time I walk into Systems 2, I don't go into shock and get and remember getting the phone call that my father passed away while in Systems 2. Every time I play with Sean, and Sean and I still talk about this story, Sean Jones and I don't get sad, and I've been praying for this over years, so it's not like I woke up like this. It is a part of me, but it's not like I just woke up like this. But I celebrate them. I do remember. I remember, and I celebrate them. I smile when I think about that day, and I think about all the memories that are associated with my father, and that the love for music I wouldn't have if it wasn't for him. So I'm glad I was playing music when he decided to make his transition. I look at, or when God decided it was his time to make his transition. I look at all of those things. As far as my mother, Father's Day, yeah, it's my day, I guess, or for all you fathers out there, but also it's for the kids to celebrate us. So I didn't want to be sad on Father's Day, every Father's Day, thinking about, wow, this is the day I lost my mother, however many years ago. No, because it was time for my kids to celebrate me. So now I think about it and I smile. And I remember who my mother was. I remember as I look around this house Christmas Eve, I remember the Christmas Eve my mother said, "You never invite me to your Christmas Eve party." And I was like, I never, I didn't. It wasn't that I didn't intentionally, I was just like, I'm not inviting my mother. It wasn't that kind of party at first. But for the last 2 or 3 years, it was great to see my mother here and become a fixture, holding all the different babies that that have come through the party. So I smile. I mean, I'm even now, I look at those things and I feel good because the time that those people spent on earth was valuable to me and it meant a lot. And they're still smiling from wherever they are right now. They're smiling from up there, looking at what we do with a party, looking at what you do with your life. So as hard as this time is, and I rambled, but I think everybody's getting the point. As hard as this time is for different people, for different reasons, whether it's loss, whatever it is, and but it's a great time for getting together with family, point blank. Great time for getting together with family. Great time for remembering. And as you go on, I just pray that you can start to remember and not relive. And that's not overnight. It's not overnight. It's not overnight, depending on what your situation is. But just pray for that you can remember and not relive and feel that pain of that moment when you found out or that moment when such and such happened, and just remember all the good that happened and celebrate this season. Smile, celebrate with your family, have a good time. Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas.